Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back at it with another Dragon Quest Adventure of Die episode review for you guys. So I guess two things to get out the way. One, welcome back. It's great to be back in terms of Dragon Quest reviews, because if you weren't paying attention, essentially Dragon Quest went on a break like a weekly shonen manga, which honestly is I guess you can say pretty freaking insane and pretty crazy. But yeah, it went on a little break because I don't know why. But listen, it went on its break. It was just a recap episode. I did kind of skim over the episode, and it wasn't nothing other than just a recap episode. Like, even if you go on Verb or Crunchyroll, you see it's not even given like episode 38. Tonight's episode was episode 38. This episode was just like, oh, a recap or something, and it just recapped all the previous events from the start of Dragon Quest Adventure of Die to where we last left off, and that's kind of it. So no need to watch that episode. I know for me, I guess you can say, even though it sucked that we didn't get a new Dragon Quest episode, I guess you could say the break was much needed. But yes, we're back into the grind of things. And the next thing I guess on my list I have to say is obviously my co-host, the Red Wolf, isn't joining us on this video because obviously if you live in America, we're celebrating the 4th of July, and he went to go spend time his 4th of July weekend in Mexico. But yeah, that's everything, but he should be back next week unless anything comes up to where he can't make it. But yeah, and then two, expect your Fridays to probably get Dragon Quest a little bit earlier in the night, maybe not, maybe around the same time, but a little bit earlier in the night because my Clippers are finally being eliminated from the playoffs. So now I'm essentially freed up with time to do on my Friday evenings. Anyways, let's get into this week's episode of Dragon Quest Adventure of Die, the return of this show. And this is Dragon Quest Adventure of Die episode 38. So essentially what is thrown around in this episode is we find out what Leona's doing, why she had to do this thing that she said she had to do on her own. And essentially King Ramos said, essentially Leona was planning this entire time to do a world summit with the other kings, queens, and leaders of other countries and nations to talk about fighting against the Dark Army and coming up with something to fight the Dark Army and stuff like that. But we find out that the countries of Orzam, Ringaya, and Karl were the only three countries that were destroyed, and at that point there was no world summit or coming together of these leaders and stuff like that. So because of those exact, I guess, examples, that's why they're like, okay, yeah, we need to freaking bring up a world summit so we can talk this over and find a way to defeat the Dark Army. Now the summit's going to be held in Papnica. Now King Ramos asked Dai to also come by to meet other world leaders and stuff like that since he's the hero. But also, you could also use it to see if one of the world leaders knows anything about maybe finding a weapon that is strong enough to hold on to or manage to control Dai's, I guess you could say his Dragon Knight powers next to the Sword of Champions and stuff like that. Now, after something has passed, some of the martial art fighters from the tournament start to thank Dai, Pop, and Mom for their efforts of essentially doing what they did, a few episodes ago, and even what they're planning on doing in terms of confronting the Dark Army and stuff like that. Now, Shu wants some credit a little bit there too, but then the ghost character essentially talks to him, and then obviously, like I predicted, Mom essentially tells Shu that the ghost is actually their grandmaster, Brokina, and stuff like that. And essentially, the reason why he came was to test or see how strong they've gotten. Excuse me, I just got done eating. Maybe my drink will help. But he wanted to go there in a disguise to test out their strength and see how much stronger they've gotten. He essentially told Shu, like, listen, don't let the fame get to your head, keep improving and stuff like that and get better. But he did acknowledge the fact that when it came to you doing something and helping your friends, you manned up and you did your thing, but you still have some things you can learn. Before Pop, Mom, and Dai all leave for Patnika, Shu kind of tags along with them, even though Pop doesn't want to do that. But he eventually gets to the point where, okay, fine, you might as well. So yeah, now we cut over to Mr. Vern, and he finds the hideout where Hadlar and Zabarera has been at, and and Hadlar welcomes him, and he confronts him. He's in, again, the same kind of, I guess, rejuvenation pod like you see in Dragon Ball Z in the Frieza saga when they put Vegeta and Goku in it. And but the only difference is he actually has full consciousness of what he's seeing and doing and stuff like that. And essentially, he's asking Mr. Vern, like, hey, can you stall for time and try to take down the humans and stuff like that before my superior being body is fully complete, and stuff like that, because he overheard that they're going to be gathering to make some sort of conference or thing. Now, Mr. Vern's like, oh, but you're transformed into a superior being. Aren't they supposed to lose their magic when they do that? And essentially Hadlar says, well, yeah, but I found something around that. And essentially the thing is, he said, the problem is people would transform mid-battle into a superior being. What I'm going to do to counteract that is to just become a superior being and turn my body into one from the start. Which essentially, because of this would make, Mr. Vern makes the reference like, you would legit lose everything. You lose like everything that made you, your dark, lean self, and your immortality and stuff like that. And Hadlar, he's at the point where, obviously, like I said many episodes ago, or a few episodes ago, when Hadlar was taking this approach, sometimes when you're desperate, you'll do things and you'll throw away things about you that you would probably not do in reality. But if it's to get anything or win something and you're desperate about doing it, you'll do whatever it takes to win. And that's what he's doing. So he's essentially giving up his pride, his will, everything about him that made him Hadlar in his past. He's giving that up because he wants to defeat the disciples of Avon and kill them, and stuff like that. So yeah, and the funny thing is, he doesn't even care if Vern finds out that he failed earlier too. He even tells Mr. Vern, like, if you tell Vern that I failed, then so be it. I don't really care. But essentially, Mr. Vern's like, well, the fact that you're going to be doing that and you're casting aside all your weaknesses, well, Vern will be pleased. And yes, I'll carry out your bidding and stuff like that. So, yeah, we see the side guy. I forgot his freaking name. Whenever I'll have to find his name on the internet somewhere. But he makes a mention of how Mr. Vern's got the key of Vern, which essentially means that Vern's okay with him doing the attack and stuff like that. So yeah. Now, what is it? Now, when the heroes are dying, the others get back. They run to, obviously, they run into Crocodile, and Crocodile essentially tells them, like, it's great to see you guys again and stuff like that. He meets Shu for the first time, and then he also tells them that the summit is going to be held in the chapel across from them. So then that's when they also meet up with Leona next up, and essentially Leona says that they have all the world leaders there except for the 3 countries I previously mentioned. Now for Ring Gaia, they found General Balsan, and the one area, the one country, they couldn't find anybody, but they make a point to mention that Queen Flora of the Carl Kingdom is still missing. So I don't know if she's going to turn up later. It seems like they're referencing the fact that she might actually still be alive and she might turn up somewhere in the future. So we'll see and stuff like that. Now, Dai says, like, hey, I'm trying to get some information about finding a weapon stronger than the Sword of Champions. And one of the trio, the Troika, one of the members of the Troika, tells him, like, you should probably go talk to King Vulcan and maybe he'll have some information. Now, they ask him to see if there's a weapon stronger than the King of Champions, and he says no. But he says you can use Meryl to maybe help you find it. And yes, we find out that Meryl's in Papnica. She accompanied King Vulcan, which it's always great to see Meryl. I was like, when Meryl left, I was like, I really said because I wanted Meryl to be a part of this grouping, like not in terms of the fighting and stuff like that, but at least an integral part of obviously Ty's crew and stuff like that. And obviously, when Meryl comes in, she's happy to help out Di and the others, but especially she's happy to see her the guy she likes or the guy she's in love with. Pop. She manages to do a kind of like, I guess you could say, one of those things that people who try to foretell the future or see through the future or tell somebody's future. And essentially they say they can find somebody with a powerful weapon from this area called Lon Kirk's village, which Pop is a little unsure about that because we find out the fact that that is Pop's hometown where he was born from and stuff like that. So they zoom on over there. They crash, and the funny thing is, I'm like, of course Pop has to land on Mom's, I guess you can say, her back thigh, damn near her ass essentially. And I'm like, I'm shocked that Mom didn't just punch him right there and says, get the hell off of me, do not even think about it. But okay, yes. Now, again, this is kind of just a funny off thing. Meryl makes the mention how the real Mom is much more kinder and, caring and stuff like that, and isn't like obviously the one that was pretending to be Zalbrera, pretending to be Mom. And she makes a mention how obviously she can see why Pop likes her. Now, geez, listen, I've been shipping characters in the show, but low-key now, honestly, I was down to see Pop and Mom get together, but low-key, I kind of want to see Pop and Meryl get together. I'm fine with Mom getting or hooking up with Hugh Nickel. I honestly am, because I feel so bad for Meryl. I feel like she's like the odd person out in this. And I feel like there's gonna be a thing where maybe there's gonna be a thing where Pop eventually realizes that Meryl likes him, and maybe he'll be like, you know what, this girl's pretty cute. I know I like Mom, but I like Meryl too. Unless he's gonna be flat out blunt honest that he tells Meryl to his her face, saying like, hey, look, you're a very nice girl and I like you a lot, but I really like Mom. That's the person I'm in love with. Again, usually in these shonen shows, they don't really explore these relationship angles because they typically make shonen characters oblivious to romance angles and stuff like that. But I wouldn't mind if Pop were to do that. But typically, if we're being honest, that's what would probably happen. Pop would probably tell Meryl, like, I don't like you like that. My true love is with Mom, and she would probably be okay with that. But I really do want Pop and Meryl to hook up. Like, now I'm actually shipping that. She's so cute and she's so adorable. Anyways, it's great to see her again, though. It's great to see her again. Now, Pop's kind of hiding a bit because he doesn't want his family to see him, and then he ends up seeing his mom. And it looks like he's gonna just run away and not confront his mom, but obviously him missing his mom, he can't resist, so he runs over to his mom and everything. And then his dad comes out, and his dad literally slams on the ground because he was like, you thought you could run away for a year and not tell us where you were at? So eventually after that, they welcome in Di and the others. And essentially, Pop's dad tells him that, you can find maybe a weapon or get a weapon created from this guy, from this Darkling who's named Lon Baruch. Obviously, this is a guy we heard of in the past, and Pop says this was the guy that Hugh Nickel's weapons were made, or he made Hugh Nickel's weapons and stuff like that. So when they go see Lon, he isn't really like, I'm not going to make you any sword or whatever, or no weapons, because, hey, what's the point of making a weapons if no one's going to try out my weapons to begin with and stuff like that and make them impressive as is. But then that's when, and he tells him, like, you can, if you need a sword, go grab one of those swords I've already created. So Dai grabs one of them. He activates his Dragonite powers, but then it just essentially breaks and stuff like that, and does like, yeah, this power is not enough and things like that. He makes a mention of the fact that he defeated the Dark Demon Blade and broke it, and this gets Lon like, what the hell, you did that with one of my weapons? And Dai's like, yeah, I did. And that's when he's like, holy crap, I need to make this guy a sword, everything. And obviously Dai's like, I need something that's like the Dark Demon Blade. But obviously Lon's like, well, if that's the case, I'm gonna need the same materials, and the materials I need is Aura Callum. But then at the last second, because they couldn't find a place where to find it, they should go to Daramira Island because they have the Crown of Champions that they got from the start, and which was funny because we get obviously Dai's Grandpa Brass reference or a thing again. It honestly took me back to. It honestly reminded me about that part in Dragon Ball. I don't know if there's any other instances in Dragon Ball with this, but to actually now think about it, it makes me remember when Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin had to work together before the Ginyu Force arrived, and they had to go get their Dragon Balls to try to summon the dragon and everything. And I remember, and if you remember the part where they just dropped by Bulma and they grabbed the Dragon Ball and stuff like that, it's kind of similar to that and things like that. So that's what I took out of it. So they got the Aura Callum, and they're ready to have, I guess, the sword made. But the episode essentially ends off with Mr. Vern in a giant rock monster type of thing, looking like he's about to attack Papnika with his forces, and that's what apparently is going to happen. And it seems like there's also going to be some internal, I guess you could say, discussions or, disagreements with the countries of how they should handle, which is probably not a good thing handling. But this episode, I would say, was a good episode. We get to see some familiar faces again, and we get to see Pop's hometown, as well as just the attack of Mr. Vern and what he's doing, and how Hadlar's just nonchalantly just giving up everything about him. But other than that, that was kind of it was a good episode. I enjoyed it, and it's great to have Dragon Quest back. Again, sorry for my friend's absent, but he should be back next week. And yeah, other than that, if you guys liked the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of Dragon Quest Adventure of Dai, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Dragon Quest content. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day or night over checking out this video. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.